Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Broken Brian. I'm your host, RevStuie, and Echo dropped this evening, and I may or may not be the first person to actually release a review on this series, but hey, if I'm not, great. If I am, awesome. I binge watched this entire series. This evening, I think I started a little bit late, but I wanted to come into this saying a lot of different prep stuff about me and my perception on this. So when I give my review, you understand where I'm coming from. First off, I know a lot of my contemporaries like Neurotic, Critical Drinker, Heel versus Babyface, uh, Drunk 3PO, and a lot of the others are going to be very anti against this right off the bat coming out of the gate. I wanted this coming to want to view this as a standalone series diving deep into the character development of Echo herself. Now, I am Irish, Swedish, seventh generation Texan. My first generation Texan native in this state was half Irish and half Choctaw. I thought it was kind of funny that of all the indigenous nations across the United States that Echo would identify with Choctaw. And so it was kind of like, it's kind of cool. Not like the Choctaw Nation would ever describe this, would ever claim this white boy as Choctaw. I know it is part of my deep ancestral history. It doesn't affect me to this day, but it's nice to see things of my ancestry seen on screen. So I I enjoyed looking into as they delve deeper into the Choctaw Nation history and lore a little bit. That kind of resonated with me a bit, but not so much as to influence me on how I thought about the series. So I watched the series 100% solely on the fact that Disney decided to release it on Hulu. Because if they didn't, I would not be reviewing it right now because I canceled my Disney Plus subscription a long time ago. I saw what they did to my Doctor Strange and I just could not get over it. Multiverse of Madness was a nightmare. I mean, seriously, there's so many plot holes, so many things. It's like I could have ended that movie in 10 minutes. I could have solved that movie in 10 minutes based on what, we saw in Spider Man No Way Home. Hey, make Wanda forget about her imaginary kids she invented. Boom, story over, done. We're 10 minutes in. This isn't even long enough for a what if episode. So I know Disney has destroyed most of Marvel, and I really have only seen two things since Multiverse of Madness, and that is Werewolf at Night, which was actually spectacular, and I love it, and Loki. I did continue to see Loki because the character development of Loki is what I was focused on, not all the pandering and things like that that was into it. I wanted to dive deep into the character development. So we're taking a look at Echo, and I mean honestly, she's not a character I could absolutely care less about. I mean, she's I don't know, like a seventh, eighth, 10th tier character. I mean, seriously. I mean, I don't. There's nothing that would have been like, hey, I want to learn more about Echo. I may have done it on my own, couple of research searches on like the Marvel Wiki and things like that, just kind of get some more information, background, because I never saw her in the comics and the ones I read. So, but I came into this going, okay, I'm going to watch this as just a standalone series, not part of the MCU. And honestly, I thought it was meh. I don't know if it's different on the Disney Plus side, but oh my gosh. The fight sequences were not good. They were kind of really bad. I mean, they were just poor. And then the editing of the episodes, you could tell they just periodically cut to black and then return back to the series. Like, this is where they decide this is what the commercial or the ad is going to be. So if you're binge watching it and you have ad free Hulu or ad free Disney, it looks really choppy, really weird. And I just, whatever exec or producer or director thought that that had to be how it was spit out onto the streaming services should be let go. That was terrible. Because I honestly thought, oh my gosh, I lost internet connection again. Like every about 10 to 15 minutes, I'd be like, oh my gosh, did my internet go out? No, it's just this weird black screen, and then boom, we return right back to the series. What is that about? Seriously, that was stupid. Why would you do that? Just keep it continuous. And then if you have to add ads in, fine, just put it in, but don't actually leave a black space of void of sound and video in periodic increments throughout each episode. It was infuriating. Now, when we hit episode 1, we do get some nice cameos. Hey, we get Daredevil. We get Matt Murdock's Daredevil from the original MCU Netflix series. No, he did not show up in She-Hulk because that was an atrocious series and we'll just leave it at that. She-Hulk was trash. And the fact that I watched more episodes than I'm willing to admit, fortunately not on my own Disney account, I'm just going to leave it at that. It was atrocious. My Matt Murdock lived on the Disney Daredevil series, which was phenomenal. And then we got Jeremy Renner. Didn't expect to see him. We got to see him in episode 1, where they kind of flash back where during the blip era of between Infinity Wars and Endgame, where he's donned the persona of Ronin and taking out a lot of bad guys, which happens to be one of them happens to be Echo's father. And that's kind of what spurs her revenge cycle into being, but only knowing that the only reason her father was dead was because of Kingpin. And yes, we see Vincent D'Onofrio. Let's call him Vincent because I cannot say his last name to save my life. We see Vin throughout the series. And I do love his persona as Kingpin. It's stellar. I do think Michael Clark Duncan pulled it off phenomenal in the original Daredevil movie. No other character pulled off their part properly, but he did. He did. It was wonderful. And 100% would, if he was still with us today, would back him as Kingpin today. He was phenomenal. But Echo kind of goes through and we see these delves of going in through her history, her family, which is really kind of cool for me, a person who I will read an entire book of just diving into the character development of any character into a series I love. I mean, people like, oh, have you read The Silmarillion? No, why? Oh, I read it. I read it multiple times. I still don't quite understand all of it. I love it. Just delving into the universe and just getting deeper into it. To me, Echo is a series that if it was put out 3 to 4 years from now, I would absolutely adore because I got to see what was done and who she was and how she came to be. But in the current state of the MCU, I honestly could care less. Because she's not what the focus is. And if she is the focus of the MCU is slowly circling down the drain. But a lot of it is very interesting. It's very integral. It's very good. I did enjoy the series overall. I mean, besides the fight scenes that were just horribly choreographed, that just, I mean, seriously, um, they were just bad. A lot of the fight scenes were just straight up bad. I mean, pick any fight scene from any movie in the past decade, it beats the Echo fight scenes in this series. And then it kind of gets this, dives deep into this ancient, ancient Choctaw heritage power of familial power of supernatural power. I don't even know. They don't really explain it, but it just kind of alludes to that Echo has a supernatural power that she can kind of call upon. And I'm kind of like, well, that's worse. You should have left that out because that would have made things a lot more coherent. So why would you add the supernatural part of the series to a character and not really fully explain it? You know, besides the spirals on the hands. And I was kind of like, okay. And it is very interesting. From a standalone series, I would say this was a good series. As a part of the MCU, this was not a good series. And this is someone who liked Loki. And I watched the final season of Loki because I like the character development, even though a lot of my contemporaries like, oh, they tried to make Sylvie the leader and switch the genders and all that. It was a good character development arc, and I liked it and I enjoyed it. This is what I was hoping Echo would be, and it just fell short. I mean, seriously, if I had to give it out of 5 stars, I'd give it 3, and that's being generous. But in all reality, this is like a 2. I mean, if you got some time to kill just sitting on your couch wanting to watch something, if you got Hulu or Disney Plus, give it a watch. You might find it entertaining. A little excitement here and there. Honestly, it was just, I felt like it was disrespectful to the character and to the MCU. That just seemed like this was not the time and place for this story. And the only reason I think this exists now is to either promote Echo in current MCU universe, and I'm not against that, but this character didn't make me like her anymore. It made me understand her more and make me kind of understand her motivation and her family and the backstory, which I found interesting. But in the context of the MCU, it was negligible. I mean, I'd rather have 5, 6 series on Hawkeye versus anything that Echo's ever done. I mean, 5, 6 series on Sentry or any of the tertiary characters. I mean, seriously, introduce anybody that is well known. I mean, seriously, it didn't click that I remembered that Echo existed until the MCU hit. It's like, oh yeah, I remember her, but oh, do I care about her? No. Give me a 10-season series on Storm, and I'm 100% in. Because that's a character I love and care about. Echo is just kind of this 7th, 8th tier character that, okay, she exists, but is not prominent in the Marvel comic universe and somehow has now been promoted to a high standard in the MCU. I don't know why. But I will tell you this. It's a meh series. Within the MCU, it's a terrible series. Standalone as a character development arc of a single character, it's meh. It's okay. It's not great. It was kind of interesting because it did add the deafness characteristic to it to see how someone with a different disability than something you may have yourself kind of has to deal with in the real world. That was interesting. Um, as far as related to the MCU, it was just seemed like if this didn't exist, I wouldn't I wouldn't be missing it. Like, this is not integral, and this is where the MCU is failing consistently over and over again. Hey, we're going to promote this character that no one cares about. So have fun with that. Guess what? I don't. So guess what I'm going to do? I finished the series, and I'm never going to watch it again. So that's my 2 cents, and that's just, binge watching about, what is it? Just under 6 hours of Echo altogether. And here it is, way too late in the morning for me to be making this video when I've got to get up for work tomorrow. So I'll tell you this. If you like character development and looking into a character and deep diving into a specific character, this could be good for you. If you're an MCU fan, MCEU fan, honestly, this is something you could skip and not lose a moment of sleep over. So, until next time, I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.